Good evening, y'all. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever y'all are at. This is Marble on YouTube land, on the internet, somewhere. Um, in the last video, we read Bere'shiyth Genesis, chapter 20 or 32. I get it, keep track of that crap. Anyway, um, we we read that Yaakov started his journey back to the land of his father, Yitzhak. And so, um, area, location, Canaan. And so, on his way back, he had just gotten done with the oath that he made between himself and Lavan, his uncle, and Yahuwah being the judge and witness of this action and transaction. Um, he's going on his way, and he sees the angels, and he names this place Dead Spot right there on or Dead on the Spot. Mechanaim. Mechanaim. It's a fun word to say. And so he's on his way, and on the route that he's going to, he's on his is on the way to uh, his brother Esau, and so he's like, maybe I can, persuade him and please him with a gift, kind of make up with him. I don't know. So he starts getting all of uh, his asses, his camels, his donkeys, his sheep, his livestock, his oxen, all of those things, and he starts setting a certain amount of each, and all by themselves, in according to their kind, and he's telling the servants of in charge of these what are called droves, which is a band of or a flock or herd of animals that are being driven to a certain location. And the shepherd or the herdsman or the drover is the one who is keeping them on that path. So, because animals will go astray, Goats are very headstrong. They've got a lot of free will that they want to do. I'll just say that from somebody's experience. I won't say who it is, but anyway, some guy. So he says he's got 200 she goats, 20 he goats, 200 ewes, 20 rams, 30 milk camels with their colts, and 40 kine, and 10 bulls, 20 she asses, and 10 foals. That's a heck of a lot of animals just to, be given to your brother to appease him and basically say, I'm sorry. So let's see how much that is. That's 200, 400, 20, 20, 30. If all the milk camels had colts, so that would be 60, 40, 10, 20, 10. It's it's like 570 head of livestock as a gift. Boom. You know how much that would be worth today? I'm not even gonna. That's tens of thousands, probably multiple tens of thousands of dollars as a gift going to your brother to appease him for all the crappy things, the main two crappy things you did to him, stealing his birthright or trading it for a bowl of soup, and stealing your brother's blessing of the firstborn. So, that's, yeah. So let's go on a little tangent right here. The blessing of the firstborn, the inheritance of the firstborn, is a double portion of what anybody else's gets. And that is the reason why, because the firstborn is going to be the eldest. And when dad goes away and is no longer in the picture, that second, he's got an inheritance for himself and an other added inheritance to be able to help and provide for the family. And so that is the purpose of the double inheritance of the firstborn. So it's really something important, it's something big, and it's a big responsibility to take on, because now you're the head honcho man of the household, and all of these responsibilities that dad has is now on you as the firstborn. So now you're taking care of mom and Joe and Beth and Luke and Brian and Jake and, you know, whoever else is your household. That is your household. You're taking care of all the animals. You can dogs, cats, you know, turkeys, whatever you got. You're taking care of all of that too, and you are distributing as you go, if you can achieve that, you know. But that's what's going on. If you have people that you are hiring, and that or that your dad had under the business of the husbandry or whatever your business is, that goes to you biblically as part of taking care of the family, if whether it's business, unless that was bestowed upon as an inheritance through other members and siblings. So, but as the firstborn, and if you are a firstborn, this biblically, this is what this is talking about. So, um, let's get back to where we were, which I don't remember. Anyway, yeah. So Yaakov's got this 500 some head gift of livestock that he's separating by themselves according to their kind in droves. And we already talked about that, what that was. So, and all the servants that are in charge of each drove, he says, um, whenever you go to meet Esau, he asks, "Who are you? Whose are you? What are these? You know, what's going on?" Like, "Oh yeah, I'm a servant of I work for Yaakov and Yaakov LLC, you know, husbandry services." Um, and this is a gift that he sent to you, my good sir. And he's coming behind me. So then another drove comes by. "Who are you? What mean you by these droves?" "Well, I work for Yaakov LLC and the herd services. You need camels, we got them. But To you, my good sir, this is a gift from the boss man, right from the top of the chain. So, um, and this keeps on happening. And look, he's on his way to come and see you too. So, um, after all these other ones, and so after all these groups they got going on, Yaakov finally comes, and uh, this is what, or he's on his way, but he's split into two groups, two bands, and this is a spoken prophecy of what will happen to Yasharel. He also gets in a wrestling match with um, who's called a man, and which is a pretty interesting point right here. But he was wrestling with him all night till the breaking of the day, so sunrise coming up. And the guy's like, "Dude, let go of me. The sun's coming up." He's like, "I'm not gonna let you go. Bless me." And so he's like, "Well, what's your name?" "Well, it's Yaakov." Like, "Well, your name's not Yaakov anymore. It's Yasharel." And he's like, "Well, what's your name?" He's like, "Why do you ask for my name?" It's like, you don't need to know that. Not for You're not on the need to know basis. So, um, he's like, "Oh, I must have seen Yahuwah. I must have seen Elohim, and my life was preserved." And so he called the place where that happened, that event, that wrestling match took place, Penuel. For so that's what kind of goes back to whenever Leah and Raquel were naming their sons. He said the Penuel. Um, he's like, "I've seen the face of Elohim, and my life is preserved." People understood that, like, if you saw Elohim, you would be consumed. Like, they had this understanding that if you saw God, like, you were no more, you were done. This body that we have can only withstand so much energy, and which the Father is full of light and goodness, and we're in our natural human ways of death and sin. It would consume us faster than that, faster than the speed of light. So, um, somehow it's not explained here, but there is this understanding that if they saw any part of Yah, that especially what Yaakov said, "I have seen the face of Elohim, and my life was preserved." So, there's this understanding that uh, you know I don't know how to keep on getting trying to get it through to people that there's so much in this book that is just glossed over. People just read, and I mean, I've read many portions of this book and many times over, and I still find things over and over and over. I can read it 100 times and I'll still find something new. Like, what? How have I not seen that before? Because the more you read this and put your heart into this and search after Yahuwah, He will reveal Himself to you. And it's incredible the way he has set things in place. So read your Bibles, do the things that pleases Yah. How do you please Yah? You get to know him. How do you get to know him? Read the book. All right. So he gets done with this wrestling match, and but he gets an injury during this match. The man of Elohim touches one of his hip joints and comes out. So he's really feeling it and got a pretty good gait going on. And so this is, as it says in the last verse of Genesis 32, that in verse 32, therefore the children of Yasharel eat not the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh, unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Yaakov's thigh in the sinew that shrank. So, with that being said, let's jump into chapter 33. 33, shall we? And Yaakov lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 men. And he divided the children unto Leah, and unto Rachel, and unto the two handmaids. And he put the handmaids and their children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel and Joseph hindermost. And he passed over before them, and bowed himself to the ground 7 times, until he came near to his brother. And Esau ran to meet him, and embraced him, and fell on his neck, and kissed him, and they wept. And he lifted up his eyes, and saw the women and the children, and said, Who are those with you? And he said, The children which Elohim has graciously given your servant. Then the handmaidens came near, and their children. And they bowed themselves, and Leah also with her children came near and bowed themselves. And after came Joseph near, and Rachel, and they bowed themselves. And they said, What do you mean by all this drove with it which I met? And he said, These are to find grace in the sight of my Lord. And Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep that which you have unto yourself. And Yaakov said, Nay, but I pray you, if I have found grace in your sight, then receive my present at my hand. For therefore I have seen your face as though I had seen the face of Elohim, and you were pleased with me. Take, I pray you, my blessing that is brought to you, because Elohim has dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. And he urged him, and he took it. And he said, Let us take our journey, and let us go, and I will go before you. And he said unto him, My Lord knows that the children are tender, and the flocks and the herds are with young are with me. And if men should overdrive them one day, all the flock will die. Let my Lord, I pray you, pass over before his servant, and I will lead on softly, according as the cattle that goes before me, and the children be able to endure, until I come unto my Lord, unto Seir. And Esau said, Let me now leave with you some of the folk that are with me. And he said, What needs it? Let me find grace in the sight of my Lord. So Esau returned that day on his way unto Seir, and Yaakov journeyed to Sukkot, and built him an house, and made sukkahs for his cattle. Therefore the name of the place is called Sukkot. And Yaakov came to Shalem, a city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padan Aram and pitched his tent before the city. And he bought a parcel of a field where he had spread his tent at the hand of the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. And he erected there an altar and called it El Elohe Yasharel. This is the end of the reading of the chapter in Bere'shiyth, Genesis 33. Shalom and blessings, y'all.